In this video, we're going to be revisiting the noise brush by getting in some sliders that will enable an artist to adjust the various properties of the noise that Lee created. We're also going to have a thumbnail so that the artist will get some visual feedback as to what those parameter adjustments cause the noise to actually look like.
Right. So, shall we start?
Yeah, sounds good.
Can you bring up Visual Studio so I don't have to click like 20 times for me?
Kink.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, so I'm going to make sure that pretty much everything is collapsed with the exception of on GUI. And I want to put in some regions real quick. So just to clean things up, I'm going to move this as well. Just a little bit of final cleanup before we get into dealing with the noise brush and then the stencil brush in the next video. But so this will be a region. Yeah, you had to put the end region in there, didn't you? All right, so this will be our tool panel. Which will end right here after the separator. New region, that will be our brush panel. Again, I'll end it there. Because this is kind of getting unwieldy and I should probably break it out into their own methods, but I want to make Jason twitch a little bit more.
I'm not saying anything.
You were saying that, you know, in between all the videos. I know.
Whatever.
All right. Now, this area will be our strength. Can you do strength? I think you can do this. I've never tried it. Apparently it's okay with it. Cool. And we'll call it panel just to be consistent. So this will take care of that. And that leaves us with our last region, which will be our context sensitive panel. Big word for the day. Probably spelt it wrong too, but whatever. All right, now we can go ahead and close this guy. Close this guy. Let's go find our noise brush again. Open him up. Close everything down. We need to add a new public void on GUI method. We don't need to pass anything into it. We don't need to return anything out of it, but we do need to display some stuff from it. Now, before I forget and build out and wonder why we're not seeing anything, we're going to go ahead and call our brushes dot on GUI, and interesting, why are you not picking it up? You unhappy because you just want to? Well, this is interesting. Why are you not happy?
Pull up your brush.
Yeah, I see what mine's different from there. I made it a static. So fine. It will be static. You will be happy the moment I do this. I know why it was doing it though, I think. It's not going to do it different. On GUI. You do not contain on GUI. Noise brush.
Look at your...
Yeah, because I'm not casting it. But who, what, where? The reason why is because that, for one, good call. But also, brush doesn't have a definition for on GUI. I have to cast it to be... It helps if I read my notes, believe it or not. I've got to cast to a noise brush. Take our brush. And... Oh. Whew. Don't mind me.
I'm not.
I just realized I'm in a completely wrong file. This is awesome. Okay, let me rebuild that. That seems to be okay there. I'm going to close that for now. Wow. All right. Sorry. Hello, everybody. My name's Lee. I'm back. And, well, at least for the moment. And we'll see where we go from here. All right. Let's go ahead.
That was definitely entertaining.
And the worst part is you're just sitting there laughing at me the whole time. Thank you.
Just letting you do your thing, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's like going, if I'm ever like driving a car into a brick wall, I hope you say something before we go crashing into it.
Still having a hard time, huh?
Huh?
Nothing.
Yes, I'm having a hard time. I'm not... What the... All right, hold on. Noise brush, on good. What in the world? Cannot access static method.
On non-static.
Yes.
Okay, say I'll be quiet.
Oh, man. All right. This is a train wreck, but it's salvageable. It's still fun to watch.
It is. It's a fun video to watch. But now my question is, can you fix it?
Yes, I can.
You're
I can
right
fix
there
it.
at it.
Yes, I know. I can fix it. Because I'm going to go ahead and implement things the way they're supposed to be. Well, all right. We need to, I lied. We do need to take something in. We need to know the skin because we need to make anything inside of this on GUI look like the rest of our terrain. It's going to be non-static. We have to cast it to noise brush. We need to call our on GUI. We have to pass in our skin. 1N. And we need to do a conditional check that basically checks to make sure that our brush is in fact a noise brush. Because if we try to call this stuff and cast to a noise brush when it isn't a noise brush, things aren't going to end well for the home team.
That's right. Hang on. Golf clap. Okay.
I just had to get it all back together. I completely checked out for about 5 minutes.
You did. I just assumed you had completely forgotten how to program altogether. You didn't even know how to respond other than sit here, smile, and stare. It's like,
I told you it was a train wreck. My brain just completely goes, you know what? I'm done for the day.
yeah.
See you later.
Oh, that's good fun.
I had to stop, breathe, look at the notes. It's like going, wow. It's like, ooh, pretty pictures.
Yep, pretty much.
Oh, man. All right. Breathe. I can do this.
Yes, you
Really?
can.
Okay.
I have faith, Lee.
I'm imagining all the people who may just be getting to this video and going, wow, Jason's actually broke him.
I haven't done anything. I've made a few grunts and hints, but that's all I've done.
Yeah, I know. You've enjoyed the train wreck. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right.
What? I okay. Continue.
Aw. It's like going, wow, he's drowning. Let's see how long he goes before I throw the lifesaver in for him. All right. So we're going to do a draw texture. This is going to be a new rectangle, just like everything else. We're going to define it at a position of 423 using screen height minus 50. This will have a size of 48 by 48. And we are going to use another resources.load just so I'm going to make you twitch. I love doing that. It's so much fun.
And so I sit here and let you do your thing.
I know. I see that. Just remind me not to let you be my dive buddy at any point. It's like going, hey, dude, man, your air's off. Oh, he'll figure it out.
That's right.
All right. Now, the file that I'm looking for is the black texture. If you remember several videos back, I said it's always handy to have a really small texture that is solid black and one that's always solid white so we can use it to make any type of element that we need a solid color for. We're going to use black as our total background for our noise thumbnail. The reason we're going to do this is because our stencil for our noise is using alpha. So it's going to go from white to fully transparent depending on the noise texture itself. This doesn't represent very well in our UI, so we're going to draw a texture that's going to draw a black box in the background of our noise. So what we end up seeing on the screen is similar to our stencil icons that you remember back from the demo where it's a black and white image. This will force our noise to be a black and white noise as opposed to white to transparent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to duplicate this line of code because our next draw texture is going to overlay directly on top of it. But instead of loading the black texture, we're going to be drawing the stencil itself. So if I can build that out, jump over to Unity, I may actually be able to get something on the screen. After who knows how many minutes of fumbling
13
around.
minutes.
Sweet. It just seemed like so much longer. All right, now, again, this is our context-sensitive area. If I hit stencils, it doesn't do anything, obviously. But if I hit the noise brush,
Hey, a little something there.
yep, we've got something, but we can barely see it. But if you look at it, it's really faint here as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd have to adjust our numbers to be able to adjust what we see in our little preview thumbnail. So let's go ahead and start coding some of that stuff up. And let's see if I can stay with the game for a little bit longer.
You can do it.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, just like when we were dealing with the toggles for both the tools and the brushes, we needed to be able to tell if something has changed so we could perform the correct action. We need to do something similar with our noise. We want to be able to look at our existing noise settings that we have. Then we're going to draw out all of our sliders for adjusting that noise. And then we're going to compare that to the values that we had before all those controls returned their results back to those settings. If any of those settings are different, then we know that there's been a change requested by the artist, so we need to go and update the noise. If we didn't do something like this and we just said, hey, just update the noise every time you draw, we would conceivably be trying to force the noise to regenerate itself twice every single frame because we're calling this from inside of on GUI, which is just not a very good idea. So we're going to create several different variables to hold the existing value of the noise. So noise type is going to hold noise type. We're going to have one for octaves, which is going to hold octaves. Another one for frequency. One for lacunarity. Let's make one for persistence. And our last one will be for gain. All right. Now, what we're going to use, we're going to be...
Hang on, we're starting to break up pretty bad. Give it just a second, see if that'll clear on out. All right, try that.
All right.
Still a little rough. No, it's still a little rough. It's been, there we go, that cleared up. Been an interesting night as far as bandwidth noise goes.
Well, I'm not downloading anything, and
we're good.
Interesting. All right, well, let's see. From here, we need to make our controls. The controls that we're going to use are going to be vertical sliders. Now, unfortunately, with vertical sliders, we can't do the tooltip like we can with the labels. And our bar is so small, we're really not going to have room to put them in anyways, or put labels in for underneath our sliders. So in this case, we're just going to kind of leave it blank. It's hokey, but this is, again, R&D, not production. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. So what we're going to do is noise type equals. This one's going to be a little bit different because we are going to be using a slider to adjust an enumeration, if you were. So that didn't work out exactly what I was hoping. Let's try that again. So we're going to be looking for our noise types, and we're casting the result of our vertical slider, but we need to round it. So we're going to round to integer. Yeah. Well, that was good. All right, so here's our GUI dot vertical slider, and we need to make this appear at position 470, and screen dot height minus 50, and this will be 16 pixels wide by 44 pixels high. And we have to give it an initial value just like all of the others. So we're going to cast our noise type to an integer. And then we're going to specify a value range. Now this one's a little bit different than our horizontal with our left and right values. We've got a top value and a bottom value. So whatever you want the top value to be, you put first, and then the bottom value second. So I want our slider to go from 0 to 2, with 0 being at the bottom and 2 at the top. So we're going to slide between 2 and 0, which will give us our value. So we're taking our noise type, which is an enumeration, casting it as an integer, which will return 0, 1, or 2. which is our range for our slider, but because these sliders are working on float values, it will want to return a float value. We're then taking the mathf class and taking our number and using the round to integer method on it to convert it to an integer,
Mm-hmm.
which we then convert back into an enumeration and assign it back to our noise type.
Okay.
So a little massaging of the information, but it does work. Well, it does on my R&D. Whether or not on this one's yet to be seen. All right. Now, most of this is still the same, so I'm going to copy all of this code. We'll clean it up so I don't have to type it again, but we don't have to do this casting all over the place with the rest of these examples. We do have to do some more rounding with this next one, which is our octaves. Now, octaves is also an integer, so we're going to take our mathf, come on, fine, I'll just type it. And we're going to round the integer again. But this time, we're going to use our octaves. Now, we do have the ability to use pretty much any number of octaves that we want, but I'm going to cap it for at a value of 4 for this particular utilization. We don't really need a whole bunch of octaves to get a decent representation of noise for doing the train. 4 should be plenty, and it will also force a fast type of noise, as opposed to somebody coming in and go, oh yeah, I'm going to set 24 octaves of noise and wonder why it takes 2 minutes for the noise to recalculate itself.
Mm-hmm.
We're also going to move our position over to 486. Whoops. Apparently I turned off my num-lock somehow. So 486. So this will move over this slider slightly to the left. Duplicate this. The next one that we're going to be working with is going to be frequency. Frequency is a float, so we don't have to do any casting whatsoever. And for our values, frequency works best with values of 1 or 0 to 1. So it works very well in that range. Anything above 1, you can't really tell the difference between 1 and not, or 1 and say 50.
Mm-hmm.
It looks pretty much the same because you can only get your noise down to a single pixel. So beyond that, we don't have sub-pixel accuracy. And I can get rid of this last one. And technically, we could do negative noise, but again, for terrain generation, it's really not needed. So I need 3 more, or is it 4 more? Frequency, lacunarity. So we'll do one for lacunarity. Lacunarity is going to be set at 502. And we will use values of 8 to -2. Again, with these sliders, because they're so small, I'm trying to use the minimum numbers for our range, keep the ranges as small as we can.
Mm-hmm.
That gives us the finest amount of control. So if we were to use crazy large numbers, our sliders would be very twitchy. It'd be hard to dial anything in. And also, if you play with the persistence, if you play with the R&D noise demo that we put together, you can get a fairly decent feel of what each one of these are going to give you, which is why I've gotten a fairly decent idea of what ranges work best. It was just a whole lot of playing and dialing in all kinds of different numbers. So our persistence, we're going to use a value of 2 to -2. Now, negative persistence are kind of fun. This is how you get the lava lamp effect. It's by using negative persistence. And our last one is going to be gain. Now, the smaller that you make gain, the higher your, or sorry, the smaller your persistence number is, or is the absolute value. The closer you get to 0 on persistence, the more you have to boost gain so you can actually see the results.
Right.
Otherwise, they tend to bleed away to nothing. And for gain, we're going to go with a value of 20 at the high end to a value of 0. Again, you can use negative gains. Negative gains are neat because they invert your image, but I'm not going to put them in this particular usage. Now, there's a couple more positions I need to adjust. This will be 518, followed by, hold on, no, I messed that one up. 470, 486, 502, 518, 534, and 550. So if we go ahead and build that, let's go see what we've got. So if I bring up our tool, switch over the noise, we've got our noise, we've got our 6 sliders, and we can move our sliders.
Whoa.
Yes, I'll explain what just happened.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm just testing all the sliders. All right, now what just happened is an issue that I have not addressed yet. And I am probably not going to adjust it here because it requires some interesting juggling. What is happening is we're just using a position on determining when our brush is over the terrain and when it's inside of this panel. And if I slide up and above our panel, the moment I do that, it's registering that as a paint command, and it's trying, or a sculpt command, and it's trying to raise the terrain.
Actually, you can just leave that as a challenge for people because it's a very small logic challenge.
Yeah, it is, because you've got to figure out some way of knowing.
Don't give any clues for this one. It's not a difficult challenge. Right. Otherwise, I'll just have you code it in.
Yeah, okay, fine. All right, but something to notice, I'm adjusting all these sliders, but our noise isn't doing anything. It's because we haven't updated our noise. So we'll go do that. And forget I said anything.
Oh, you're a Cylon at the moment, so we got to wait for just a moment. Wow, the internet's just horrible tonight.
Yeah, I probably should do a speed test, but I'm afraid what that would do to the signal.
Oh, yeah, no, not at the moment.
Yeah, well, after we end the video, I'll do another speed test.
Alrighty.
Because we all know, well, at least
your
Jason
neighbor,
and I all know how well Cox Cable keeps my signal.
Well, your neighborhood's had some difficulty lately.
Yeah, especially when you're used to getting 20 meg downloads and all of a sudden you're getting 2.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the next part is we need to determine if any one of these sliders have changed. If they've changed, then we need to go ahead and update our noise. So if any slider has changed, update our noise. The way we determine if any one of these sliders have changed is by checking our temporary values, which are these ones, noise type octaves, with the ones that are being set by our sliders. So if they're not equal, then we know something has changed. And if any one of these have changed, then we want to go ahead and deal with it. And some more boring typing. Let's see, persistence. There's only 6, huh? How many? No, there are only 6. For some reason, I thought there were 7. I don't know. I lose track. What's the last one? Gain. All right. So that should be the rest of the stuff that we need to bring the interface for the noise brush online.
Okay.
So we'll run it. Go ahead and build, select noise. Now, if I take my different types of noise and adjust, am I getting anything different? Yeah, here's an easy way. Let's take our gain and boost it all the way up. All right, no, we're not. Which means I'm thinking maybe it didn't build. So it's telling me it built. All right. Did I not save? And that all looks right.
Hit controller.
Yeah, I've hit it several times. Doesn't seem. Let me try something else too. Clear completely. Tell my computer I still don't want to restart. Just putting some sort of arbitrary functionality in after clearing it to see if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Or if Unity is just being stupid like it is. It's not rebuilding.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, let's just do this. I'll pause it real quick.
Let's restart
and
Unity.
we'll just restart it. Yeah, hang on 1 second.
Okay. Your mouse.
Thank you. All right, Lee, we're back. And just to let you know, Lee, what I did is fell through the world.
Good job.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
I was trying to do is come back over here and tell you that after bringing it back up, I took your debug
The
log
debug
out.
Yeah, I saw you do that.
Okay. Just to force it to compile, switch back over, and it picked it right up. So here you go, and I'll let you demonstrate some slider action.
Did you mention that we did close out of Unity and Visual Studio, opened up Unity, rebuilt the project, and got it all started, in addition to just removing that line?
Yes, Cylon. Yeah, you're breaking up bad, but yeah, we did. We didn't just remove the line. Unity was completely restarted. All right, so over to noise. Good.
Yep. All right, so now
push up that gain.
Yeah, that's the most visible.
Visible?
Way to get that. Yeah, visible. It's the bad connection.
Yeah.
Really, it is.
All right. Now put your brush. I was going to get you to put your cursor back over the terrain.
Oh, I will in a sec.
Okay.
I'm just playing. I'm trying to remember what my frequency. Okay, so this one is. Yeah, that one's frequency. No, this one, yeah, no, this is octaves. Wow, see, this is why we need tooltips. This one's frequency. All right, so get bigger looking noise. I was just trying to get a slightly different look going, which means I need to push up my gain now. And this one should be lacrinarity. There we go. Oh, damn it. I missed it.
There you
And
go.
this. Whoops. There we go. All right, so now we've got a different noise, something a little bit more visible.
Very nice. I just wanted them to see that the brush was indeed
Updating and changing. And we can go and adjust the gain even more. And if we take the frequency down even more, we can see that things are changing as we adjust the sliders.
Very
which
nice.
Means we can paint things different. And then we can take our strength and we can make itty bitty baby noise bumps.
Very nice.
Okay.
Okay.
But
So
I think that's pretty much everything we need to show for getting the noise or the noise context panel in place.
it looks nice. So there's only one left, and we will discuss that one in the next video. Thanks a lot, everyone.